Millionaire nigga since 17. You understand? Trying to break his spirit. They don't like him coming in there like that.
Fighting the feds and my divorce affected my finances. Now I gotta run around broke. How man you gonna create the stability? If not, I'm gonna end up right back in jail for the same thing. Tired, burnt out.
You went to...
What? I went what?
How are you gonna get locked up for the same thing because of disability in the house?
So you don't think our dysfunction is the cause of the situation right now?
Therapy, drug tests, every Friday go check in. It is a lot.
I earned that money that they said that I took out of my account. I physically worked and y'all watched me earn that money. And I now got to pay it back to the system. The money don't go back into my account, it goes back to the system.
Why would you need a job if you're independent? Why would you need a job if you've been fucking a millionaire since you was 17?
Welcome back and what's good? This is the FuriousRobinson podcast and I'm your host, Furious, your curator of conversation, wordsmith aficionado, voted most likely to be trending down the timeline. Hit the like button early, drop a comment for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. This is a Sick Times Media production. You see the planes. Sebastian Telfair, this is a masterclass in how you self-sabotage in 4K. Because they gave you a slap on the wrist. The Fed said, yo, we're going to let him off light. They gave you 6 months probation. And due to an inflated and crazy ego.
Maybe that was my ego.
This is what happens because you could have easily went to therapy. You could have easily knocked out your community service. But no, you wanted to play love and hip hop. These men continue to be method actors.
I was having a hard time with doing what they asked me to do. Basically sending a paper of the community service I was actually doing. They didn't care about the videos and basically looking on my Instagram and things like that. I just wasn't good with my paperwork.
Instead of getting the paperwork done, instead of saying, yo, let me lock in with a quick 9 to 5, let me show change. Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create a full-on production in my old hood. I'm going to trauma bond and cry on camera. I'm going to leverage my family for clout.
Damn, that shit been fucking with me last couple years. I've been even getting hot with them because I'm like, I don't want y'all to be calling on me because I'm not gonna be able to answer. So that's why I'm getting mad.
And this is where it continues to be a sick and nasty play. Because instead of bunkering down, locking in, putting on your hard hat and going to work, no, these men say, I'm gonna do whatever.
Maybe that was my ego.
Because for some reason, the answer is never accountability. It's never elevation or growth. It's always some wild excuse. So to me, this is a masterclass in how to kick yourself in the nuts in 4K. And it gets to a certain point where I have to call it acting. I have to say this is cosplay. How do you go from getting a 6-month bid off not turning in paperwork?
But as far as the initial case, I believe this whole federal case is definitely some bull. Like, no disrespect to the system, but this is NBA accounts. This is our own account. This is my money that, you know what I'm saying, I tamper with inside of my account.
It's too many yes men in your circle. When you have men like Peter around, Mike checking and ad-libbing in your Vlad interviews, that's when I know you're not really ready to change.
They trying to break his spirit. Like, they trying to break his spirit, basically. Like, they trying to break his spirit. Like, if you would keep on going through the hoopla, they trying to break his spirit. Millionaire nigga since 17.
You got to be ready to become a man. That's like a thing that they don't tell you. That's not written in the handbook. When it's time to really get your hands dirty and handle business, a lot of boys are going to run away. And that's cool. Continue to tarnish your legacy in real time. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at this insane. These men could just handle up. You made $20 million in your NBA career. Now you're cosplaying in the projects. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. This man could do speaking engagements. He could actually go get a decent job with the NBA instead of trying to say, yo, I'm going to go back and clean up the hood, because you don't need to do that. Nobody asked you to do that.
And they didn't count what we was doing as far as doing interviews, doing podcasts, had an opportunity to be on Love and Hip Hop. they didn't count that as work. You gotta remember who I am and how they looking at me and the things I did in my community. So they like, oh, Mr. You want to build the community over? You building gyms and all that? Like,
oh, Mr. Community Service, we're gonna actually lock you up for community service violation.
You got 6 months probation. All you need to do is handle that. Don't add no extras. Don't add no sauce to the pot. It's already cooked. So at the end of the day, you creating your own headaches.
Oh, this is healthcare fraud and this and that and that. I'm like, no, this is coming out of Sebastian Telfair account for my paid services in the NBA.
Break it down for them. You took money from yourself. They trying to say you took money from yourself.
And I owe it back to them.
Right. So, like, how can so who I'm paying this money to? I'm paying this money back to myself? So now y'all just get to charge us?
Because when these men get to playing victim, that's when I tune out. That's when it goes right in one ear and out the other, brother, because this is sick. You did not steal your own money. You stole from an NBA fund. You and 18 or 17 other gentlemen, Glenn Big Baby Davis, Terrence Williams, who's currently in federal prison right now as this video drops. So when I look at these men say, F the NBA.
You talking about the NBA? Fuck the NBA. Who am I paying back? That's the problem with the whole thing, where it took me some time where like, yeah, I gotta go sit in jail for me to basically understand the conversation. This came out of my NBA account.
When I look at these men say, who am I stealing from myself? I have to say, oh, they really don't care. Like, they don't understand the gravity of what it is to really handle business.
It was time and time again. They was telling me, go sign up, for McDonald's or something. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling them and showing them what I was doing, and that shit just basically backfired on me.
Congratulations, Sebastian, you played yourself. Because when you sit on camera and take no accountability, can you explain to me how you think you're stealing from yourself? That's not how these accounts work, buddy. If it's an NBA health insurance fund, the people that actually need the health insurance, when you siphon off for multiple root canals, you're taking away from those other gentlemen. So just look at it as a big pie. And every time you go in for a bite here, a bite there on these pseudo invoices that essentially Terrence Williams was creating, what do you think is going on? So that's when I say, oh, these men really do not care. They don't care at all about any type of consequence. So when you siphon off this money from the NBA, and then you get caught by the feds, and then you do not do community service because you got some type of grievance with your probation officer or the city of New York or the judge or whoever. Ego, once again, I have to look at you nuts because there's no way I'm going to have these yes men around me ad-libbing.
I don't see no other NBA motherfuckers getting their haircut in the middle of the projects either, man. You know what I'm talking about?
He's not even going to jail. Peter's hanging out, living life, eating good, while Sebastian sits in jail and essentially leverages his YouTube or whatever he's dropping online right now. So I look at this very funny in the light. This is what happens when you hand the keys off to the castle too early. They don't know how to build it. You can't really hustle up. You can't go brick by brick. That's a different beast. It's a lot of different gems in this video that you'll clearly see in real time. If I gave you $1 million at 17, would you really be able to handle it?
It's not a joyride for me either. I still don't know how to manage without him. And he doesn't understand that.
I don't know. I don't believe that.
How do we end up back in the feds? How do we end up sitting in an 8x4 or an 8x12? I don't even want to know the numbers. Like, we got to make better decisions as a man. We got to use better discernment. Ain't no way you catching me crying on camera for bread. You cosplaying. Why are they producing you crying into the camera? What is this? Can we stop the love in hip hop? Can we stop the Tubi movies, bruh? Because this is where it gets wicked to me and I have to wake it up. Yes men are not your friend. Peter is not your homie. Because he was the one in your ear telling you to skip out on community service. He was the one telling you not to submit the paperwork. He was the one saying, yo, you made $1 million at 17. You don't got to get no 9 to 5, bro. Go tap in with Eric Adams. Go build them parks. And now look, you sitting down like a goofy. And that's where it gets wicked. When I see too many yes men around me, I start to look. I start to give them a, yo, brother, it's okay. It's a cool, bro. Calm down. You don't got to do that. You don't have to do that. If your man's them not giving you critical feedback in real time, if the man's them not telling you, yo, chill, bro, you stepping outside your body, and we can clearly see what happens when you continue to let yes men feed your ego. You end up inside that can behind them walls. And that's tough because this man has a family. He could have been taking care of them kids and really enjoying life, but no, we want to play stupid games. We want to win stupid prizes. And I'm not here to grandstand. I'm not here to say, yo, Sebastian is a terrible human being. But at the end of the day, a little bit of accountability goes a very long way.
Maybe that was my ego.
Why would you need a job if you're independent? Why would you need a job if you've been fucking a millionaire since you was 17?
You owe $358K in restitution. And instead of saying, yo, my bad, I messed up, that's really on me. Nah, they jealous. They set me up. When is the man's them going to say I did my big one and tried to defraud the NBA? Cool. You got caught. Just handle up, bro. Because at the end of the day, they're going to find a way to move that goalpost. Accountability is nowhere near these man's names, and that's cool. I'm here for it. I'm here to look at the hypocrisy in real time and say, damn, he could have just really set the tone and been like, yeah, I'm a changed man. I'm going in here to do my time. I'm coming out and I'm taking care of my family. But no, they got to dance around it. And I'm just going to laugh at it in real time.
So you make negative comments to me, making it seem like I'm not going to be able to protect my kids when you leave. It hurts me.
You got to learn how to absorb that shit. You don't even want to hear it. So I don't know what to say.
Actually, I've been hearing it for the last 6 years. I've been with you for the last 6 years that you've been going through every single case. What happened? I heard already. You just mad that I'm tired of hearing it. Because I'm living it with you every day.
Because Sebastian Telfair lives in a world where trauma bonding is the main form of emotion. When men have to sit around and trauma bond, they have to bring up their problems on camera. They have to continuously deflect away from the main issue. I don't care. We did not create your problem, so you telling me is just your narcissistic way of getting your shit off. And I won't let you do it. I won't let you vomit your traumas on me. No, keep your traumas. Handle business like a man and keep it moving. Because a lot of people are going to say, oh, men don't have the space to be emotional. Men don't have the room to really be vulnerable. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's times to be vulnerable. There's times to be emotional. There's times to trauma dump on the people you love. But when you come to the internet and cry on camera, when they zoom in on your face while you shedding a tear, I have to look at this disgustingly wicked because it's cosplay. This is trying to feed the algorithm. And yes, he caught my attention. He did it. When a multimillionaire is walking into the projects and there's all types of broken glass, lizard, grease on the stove, it's all types of things people would essentially be disgusted by as humans in the real world. And I get it. I'm not here to judge his living situation, but it's wild to me. It looks funny in the light. So as this story progresses and Sebastian Telfair slowly but surely starts to look in the proverbial mirror, to be fair, Sebastian is hurting. You can see it. You can hear it. Years of unpressed pain, ego pressure, and childhood wounds. But the world won't save you if you refuse to save yourself. Accountability is the only therapy that works long term. Because as I gracefully land the plane, Sebastian Telfair could have did a lot of different things to actually accept accountability in this moment. But his ego continued to tell him that he was the victim. And you can clearly see by his actions, he's actually the problem. So if you have these issues and you're never taking accountability for them, this is where you land. This is where you end up, because there's no way you're telling me that he's here not because of guns, not because of fraud, but because of tarnishing his ego and his legacy in real time. But hit the like button for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. This is the Furious Robinson podcast, a Sick Times Media production. Stay dangerous.